What's up, Dragon Brood? Today I want to apologize because I didn't have a video last week. But that was partly because of the holidays and we had some other stuff going on, and I thought we were going to have the feeder repaired and we didn't. So I wanted to go ahead and wait till we have the whole video up. Plus, when I'm outside, I try to record some stuff with my phone, and the previous phone was having problems, so we had a lot of issues. But I hope you do enjoy today's video. Hey y'all. So we have an interesting situation. I actually have this video coming out late. So I ended up going ahead and making those changes and getting the heated water container that I mentioned earlier. One of the interesting things is I believe we waited a little too long locally in the season to get the heated water containers we wanted. I guess we could have ordered some online, but we just all had to wait. And with it already starting to get frosty out, I didn't want to risk a day or two of them not having warm water. So went ahead and tried this new thing. So I'm going to show you all the setup that we rigged together to make it work. All right, so since we couldn't get the containers we wanted, what we have here is one of the heated bases, I guess is what you would call those. And they can work on both metal containers and on the plastic containers. So I checked that to make sure we wouldn't just melt one. And they do heat the top. Apparently nothing really heats from the bottom. And my concern here, because we do have it hanging, as you can see, it's normally what we do for them, but we needed it to touch the base. And I didn't have a good spot for it to sit because I was going to take it off the chain. And it's actually going to be a little bit heavier as it gets colder, possibly a little bit icy. So it shouldn't be as big of a problem, but it'll be something I'm monitoring. I may have to come back and prop up the base again. Now, as for where it runs, I tried to leave minimal cable inside here, so the chickens didn't do anything crazy to it. I thought about pulling it all the way out and leaving it kind of really high, but my concern there was that I didn't want the chickens like running into it and pulling it down, doing something crazy there. So I left a little bit of slack in it, then ran it through the fence, up over the top, and then into the actual coop where we have a protected outlet and everything else so they can't get into it. Ended up having to put some duct tape over the outlets there just to make sure they stay dry, and we're gonna see if this works. I have no idea. Okay, now before people go freaking out, I know we don't need to be keeping cardboard out there. We actually are going to be replacing that with an actual like cinder block or a couple of bricks or something, because obviously that's just a bad idea. I'm more doing it this way just to test it to see if it works, then we can move stuff around. Partly because whenever we put the bricks in or stones, whatever we put, I'm probably gonna end up digging out a section and then just making sure they're stable and don't move at all. And that's gonna be the permanent setup. So I didn't wanna have to like dig up, move earth or whatever, and then do it again and then do it again to find like the right setup or solution. So we're just testing this to see if it works first. The other thing though that we're looking at is now as the winter season is starting to kind of creep up on us, we actually have a weird situation that we haven't encountered before, that our birds have decided to keep laying eggs deeper into the season. So just yesterday, I pulled out 10 eggs. So that's a little more than 3 a day, because at that point I hadn't pulled them out for about 3 days, 2.5 days-ish. So they're still laying between them 3+ a day, which is pretty good. Why? I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out, because pretty much every year, sometime around late October into maybe the first or second week in November, they were done. You know, this is the first time we're entering December and actually have them still laying eggs. So this changes to a whole different situation, because now we have to start maintaining their diet as though they're still laying eggs. This means we do have to provide something along the lines of oyster shell so they can actually have the calcium and nutrients they need to lay hard shell eggs. And we ran into this because one of the recent eggs we went to pick up was very fragile. Didn't even take me barely putting any pressure on the eggshell and cracked it. Generally, I can pick them up, kind of handle them pretty rough, toss them in one of the little carry baskets with no problem. Wasn't able to do that this time. So that tells us that that whoever laid that egg has a little bit of a probably mineral deficiency, but not hard to solve. Oyster shell you can just get anywhere, and it's easy to include in their food, and they'll eat it up with no problem. Matter of fact, we even sometimes mix some into their food, and then we'll lay some kind of around the pen when we give them snacks or whatever, and then they'll just eat that as well. So, little tip there, if you're thinking about getting in the chickens, know that oyster shell is an actual thing to buy that actually helps strengthen the shell of the eggs that your chickens are laying. We do have the feeder working now. Everything is nice and taken care of as far as that goes. We got that all sealed up. Really, we used 2 items, honestly, for that. It was just an outdoor caulk that you use for like decks and such. And then we actually used also a foam that you get from Lowe's. And it's an expanding foam that worked out great to fill the gaps. So even if for some reason the caulking strips off, they'll actually still be well protected with no issue there. Remember, if you haven't, please like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then let me know what you'd like to see over the winter season while the birds are going to be less active. I'm curious because I've got some ideas, but I'm curious what you want to see. But that's all I have for you for now. We'll see you next time.